Ed with Pinball Mayhem here. I am going to be reassembling one of these counters and showing you how it's going to go back together. Hopefully it goes back together all right. There's a few parts I have prepared. I have cleaned the shafts, cleaned the window, cleaned the case. This is the lock. I'll explain that in a little bit. And I have the case, the main frame all cleaned up, and I got the wheels back here with that little washer. This is a, I'm not going to turn it over quite yet. I'll show you the name. I'm going to use a little bit of tri-flow on this, and because I want to be very careful, I don't want to over oil it. I'm actually just going to put a little bit on the paper towel here, and that's probably all I'm going to use. So let me start with reassembling this. And as I said, I'm not using a lot. I don't want to over oil anything. Everything should run pretty clean. Now the lock is over on this side, so the groove on the shaft is always going to be that way. So I'm going to start by putting this in and picking up these gears one at a time. And that's the right way for them to go. And it's kind of funny, all these little gears and parts hold in by that lock. It's kind of hard to see with my hand in the way there. All right. So that shaft is going to go all the way in. Now I can actually see these move around. This is made by Veeder Root Inc., Hartford, Connecticut. All right. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take care of this right away. This window is just going to slide in the end here. I took and I polished the window and this case with Novus 2 turned out pretty good. Those are always filthy, so they just slide out after you bend these tabs off. So that's all good to go. Now this is the main shaft. It has a groove on one side. That groove as well is going to be lining up with this groove over on this side, which is held in by this little key. That key is one of the last parts I put in. Now I got the odometer gears here. I'm actually going to be putting them in like this. This one was broken, the little spray was broken off, and that's what I did last night. I glued that back on with some super glue. And I'm going to start by putting this one in. Now the trick is, of course, the groove has to be going that way. I'm going to go right to left. But this one has a little spring-loaded guy here, and there is this tiny little washer on the right side. So that's the first part, and I can rotate that a little bit, make sure you pass the groove. Once I get that first gear in, or the first wheel, it'll be a little easier. So, first wheel's gonna go in. Now, this is the easiest one to move, so I want to put 0 up. Move all those to the one side. I'm gonna have to back this. Back this all the way out, and I'm just gonna carefully throw this in here. Now it's time for me to set. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this arm. There. Now I got the first wheel in. You can see, you can't see, there's that little washer here. Here's a spray catch. And this bad boy is going to mate up to it. So I'm just pushing, because if you look at these gears, there's a middle spot, there's a high spot, and a small spot. So I'm pushing the high spot against the divot in that gear. And now I'm going to just work the next gear in place. I'm going to just line this all up to zeros today. And now that is stuck on the gear there. Should be able to keep lining up, and I'm going to do the same with this, line that up and keep the shaft coming out. There, so it's just going to go down the line. It's getting a little bit harder and harder, and I'm doing something wrong here. Okay, let me get that. Aha. All right, so corrections. Notice this long gear is going to go over in there, and that little gear will be turned when it turns. So it can spin. This right one is narrower, so it can spin freely. There. And I also dropped off of the dropped off of the sprays. That's one thing, you have to keep everything to the right, nice and tight. So now get this all lined back up. Okay, start over with that, start over with this. Now I can put this there. Okay, now let's get the next wheel in. Now you can accidentally get these, now I'm holding this back. You can accidentally get these off by one tooth, and you can be like, why is one digit off by half a tooth? That's because you got, or off a little bit, not lining up. So that's one important thing. You want this to look look decent before you slide that next little gear in. And I'm going to do the same thing here. It's going to be all ready to click over. There, put that on one. All right, and I got the last complete wheel. Once again, this is a same as the other 3 middle wheels, and I'm going to do the same thing and align it up. This is getting a little bit more difficult because it's getting less space. I can't move those back and forth. All right, so I'm almost done. I got the last wheel, which is a little different. It doesn't have the tooth on it, and it is narrower than the other one. So that's the last one I'm going to put in. Drop that in. Trying to hold these wheels back. All right, one thing with this wheel is until I put the lock in, I can rotate it a little bit. So I can actually hold them right back on that wheel. I can line it all up. So next, I am going to make sure this groove is exposed. Here, I got the groove there, and then there's this little lock piece that's going to go in. That is simply going to go this way. There, just keys in. Now, we'll click on up. You can manually turn this one down. There we go. Make sure your hands are clean when you're adjusting this. And the last thing I'm going to do is going to put this window, this top on. That's going to lock the whole thing in. There we go. There. Nice and new. All clicking. I'll bend these tabs over a little later. I want to make sure whoever's getting this doesn't want me to set the numbers as something different. So there we go. That is assembled. Now these shafts won't come out because of that brass key. This shaft here, same thing. That brass key that went in, locked it in. So that's reassembling a play counter that's mechanical and the electronic ones are going to have a little bit of coil on the bottom. We'll have to do one of those eventually too. You'll find these in pinballs, arcade, jukeboxes. Jukeboxes are mechanical. Older arcades like wood rails would be a mechanical arm on here. This is out of a Seeburg C, and the arm needs to be repaired. But other than that, that's assembling a plate meter. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and check out our other videos.